John 17:14. I have given them thy word, and the world hath hated them. Let's return to Ezekiel and see if he obeys Yahweh's command to eat the scroll. Ezekiel 3, verse 2. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. Well, it looks like Ezekiel didn't have much choice, did he? Remember, the hand of Yahweh was upon him, so he caused him to eat the roll. Verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Even common sense dictates that one shouldn't teach with his mouth full. Wait until after you've eaten. So when one, your belly is full of his words, and two, they have been digested and absorbed into the bloodstream and carried to your forehead, wherein lies your brain, then you are a prepared servant of Yahweh Elohim, and ready for action. Verse 4. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. Now there's a novel idea for the preachers and pastors to pick up on. Speak his words. Then if the people don't like what is said, they can take it up with him, whose words were spoken. That means none of this, well, I believe this way, or our church teaches this. Who cares? If you are one of Yahweh's servants and have eaten from his table, then you speak, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim. Ezekiel 3, verse 5. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Now think about this, for it is of paramount importance. You must know who the house of Israel is in order to be sent there, don't you? If he tells you to go to the house of Israel and you take off for the Holy Lands, you are in big trouble, for the house of Israel is not there, except for a remnant of the house of Judah, who is only 1/12 of the house of Israel. Okay, I need to pause here for a minute because Lance mentions the Holy Lands and that only 1/12 of the residents of that land are Judah. I beg to differ because if you've studied the Old Testament, you've read that not only the northern kingdom, consisting of the 12 tribes of Israel, were removed from the Holy Land into Assyria, but Judah and Benjamin, they were the southern kingdom, were later cut off and carried away captive into Babylon. The heathen peoples, such as the Canaanites, the Hittites, Kenites, Edomites, etc., and all the other ites, then moved into the land of Judea, and they were called Jews because they lived in the land of Judea, the Holy Land. But these Jews do not observe the Torah. Rather, the book they observed then and even observed now is the Talmud, from which is derived the Kabbalah. Their God is Lucifer, the fallen angel that we call Satan and the devil. It is so amazing to listen to the preachers and evangelists who haven't eaten both the within and the without portions of the scroll, i.e., the Old Testament and the New Testament. It is evident that they do not know the difference between a Hebrew, an Israelite, and a Judahite. They are at a loss to explain where the superpower of all superpowers, the United States of America, is spoken of in prophecy. So they hide behind spiritualizing everything away into the church. But that causes a huge problem because some latter-day Ezekiels better get to the house of Israel and teach the word of Yahweh and seal it into the foreheads of the 144,000, a cool 12,000 from each of the tribes of the house of Israel. Revelation 7, not 12,000 from each church denomination. Note, if you do not know where the house of Israel is today, then you need the book, The Abrahamic Covenant. by E. Raymond Capt or the one by G.R. Houghton. We have both available from our library. Next, look at who Ezekiel is sent to, not foreigners, though they would probably listen. Verse 6, not too many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou cannot understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. This verse was placed absolutely perfectly, and it was meant for our generation, for you see, the majority of the house of Israel speaks English. It lets you know that the problem is not a language barrier. The people just don't want to know. They would rather be soothsayered by smooth-talking preachers who promise them all sorts of lies, like an easy trip out of here when things get rough. Ezekiel 3:7. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Look out across America this very day and see if the house of Israel is obeying Yahweh Elohim. They are truly lost in more ways than one. They don't even know who they are. Verse 8, behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. I have made you strong is what the name Ezekiel means, i.e., whom Yahweh strengthens. If you have eaten the word of Yahweh and digested it, then you have been made strong against those who just think they are, and you are now protected by a full head-to-toe, highly polished suit of gospel armor, Ephesians 6, which is impenetrable by the fire darts of Satan and his weak-minded followers. Note, if you have eaten the scroll and been strengthened by him, then you are an Ezekiel. So pay close attention to the messages he is told to take to the house of Israel in this book. A word to the wise is in order here. Verse 9, as an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. So that you don't think that Yahweh is saying he has made Ezekiel into a close-minded, hard head, look at the word adamant in your Strong's Concordance. It means a diamond, the jewel of all gems in beauty, in value, and in hardness as compared to all other stones. You have heard the expression, she is a diamond in the rough. Well, the Ezekiels of this generation, those who he has strengthened through his word, i.e., Yahweh's elect, are diamonds in the wilderness. He has made them so. How precious indeed. Note, it requires tremendous pressure to make a diamond, don't you know? Ezekiel 3:10. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I speak unto thee, receive in thine heart, and hear with thine ears. Yahweh wants you to receive all his word in your forehead and understand them. You'd never guess that when you watch the Sunday morning parade of crumb tossers. I ask you, where's the beef? Verse 11, and go get thee to them of the captivity and to the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. So are you a diamond Christian? Have you been Ezekielized? Are you qualified to be sent forth and teach? Then the directive is to go to them of the captivity, your people, and speak to them and tell them, Thus saith Yahweh Elohim. And whether they listen or not is not your problem. Your job is to speak his words. Got it? Verse 12. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of a great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of Yahweh from his place. Ezekiel gets lifted up and takes a little whirlwind ride, but instead of hearing, "Please fasten your seatbelts," he hears, "Blessed be the glory of Yahweh from his place, which is currently from his throne in his magnificent chariot of fire." Ezekiel 3:13. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and a noise of a great rushing. They definitely make sounds when taking off. Verse 14. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of Yahweh was strong upon me. Ezekiel is saddened about the impending calamities to come, of which he's about to become the unwelcome bearer of the bad news. But make no mistake about it, Yahweh is in charge. In our next study, Ezekiel will end up in Tel Aviv and will be officially made a watchman by Yahweh. Now that's a position of great responsibility. You see, if you are one of Yahweh's elect, then there is a little bit more to serving the Lord or serving Yahweh than helping out with chicken barbecues and being an usher every fourth Sunday. Ezekiel is a type of Yahweh's elect in this final generation. That means get ready for action, for if the hand of Yahweh is upon you, it is an awesome experience. Nevertheless, praise him and enjoy the ride. We close this study with the words of the Apostle Paul, who fell into the hands of Yahweh when Yahweh knocked him off his high horse. Hebrews 10:31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Yahweh. Okay, that concludes this study, and we'll pick it up in the next one. Yahweh bless, and have a blessed Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread.